Captain Elias Drake had completed hundreds of missions, exploration runs, scientific surveys, deep space mapping. Most of them ended the same way. A few new planets, a few interesting discoveries, a report sent back to Earth. Then everyone moved on. But Elias knew something. The universe was too big, too mysterious. Eventually, a mission would appear that changed everything. He just never expected it to happen today. The exploration vessel Star Voyager moved silently through the darkness between stars. The small human ship was designed for one purpose: discovery. Its crew carried no weapons powerful enough for war. No armies, no fleets. Only scientists, explorers, and the courage to travel where no human had ever been. Their orders were simple: map unknown systems, study new worlds, collect data, return home. Nothing in their mission briefing mentioned finding an entire civilization. Elias leaned over the command console, watching streams of information flow across the displays. Below them, the unknown planet rotated slowly. It was unlike anything in human records. The atmosphere shimmered with strange colors. Massive clouds of pink and gold twisted across the planet's surface like living rivers. The oceans reflected the light of two suns. Elias frowned. This isn't in any star map. Lieutenant Mara Chen looked over from the pilot station. Her expression was a mix of excitement and concern. "Captain, that's usually when things get interesting." Elias smiled slightly. "Interesting?" Mara raised an eyebrow. "Yes." She pointed toward the planet. "Right before they try to kill us." A few crew members laughed nervously. Elias joined them, but only for a moment. Because deep down, something felt different. This planet wasn't just unknown. It felt ancient. Like it had been waiting. The Star Voyager entered orbit. Almost immediately, the sensors reacted. "Captain," the science officer's voice was suddenly quiet. Elias turned. "What did you find?" The officer hesitated, then enlarged the image. A massive canyon appeared on the screen. At first, it looked empty. Then the scanners adjusted. And everyone on the bridge stopped breathing. A city was hidden deep inside the canyon. Not ruins. Not abandoned structures. A living city. Towering structures rose from the canyon floor, stretching into the clouds above. But they were not made from metal or stone. They looked grown. Crystal-like spires twisted upward, glowing softly beneath the twin suns. The entire city seemed to pulse with energy, like it had a heartbeat. Elias stared. For once in his career, he had no words. He slowly stepped closer to the display. "That's impossible." Mara looked at the readings. "Why?" Elias pointed. "Because there is no sign of construction." The crew looked confused. He continued. "Cities are built." He stared at the alien structures. "This one looks alive." The bridge became silent. Below them, the crystal city continued to shine. A civilization older than humanity, hidden on a world nobody had ever discovered. And then, the sensors detected something else. A signal. Not from the city, not from orbit. From somewhere beneath the planet's surface. A message. The computer struggled to translate it. Unknown language. Unknown origin. Then, after several seconds, the screen changed. One sentence appeared. In perfect English. "We have been waiting for you, humans." Nobody moved. Nobody spoke. Elias slowly looked toward the planet below. The beautiful city no longer seemed peaceful. It seemed awake. And humanity had just knocked on a door that had been closed for thousands of years. Technology could explain. Despite knowing the risks, Elias made a decision. "I want a closer look," he said. Mara raised an eyebrow. "You want to go down there? We don't even know if it's safe." Elias grinned. "Exactly. That's why I'm going. Prepare the landing gear." The landing was turbulent. Winds whipped around their shuttle carrying strange spores that glowed faintly in the twilight. As they descended, Elias's eyes caught a movement. A figure struggling near the edge of a collapsed bridge. It was humanoid, but unlike any human or alien he had seen before. Her skin was pale with a faint blue shimmer, and her eyes glowed softly like liquid silver. She was trapped under fallen debris, reaching desperately for something beyond her grasp. Without thinking, Elias unbuckled himself and sprinted through the debris, ignoring the warnings blaring in his headset. He lifted heavy rocks with a strength he barely knew he had, calling to his crew. "Help me! Hurry!" Mara joined him, her own determination matching his. Together, they freed the girl. She fell into Elias's arms, gasping and trembling. "You're alive?" she whispered, her voice melodic and unfamiliar. Elias smiled reassuringly. "Yeah, you're safe now." He looked at her more closely. Her clothing was delicate, like flowing robes made of a strange silky material that shimmered with every color of the rainbow. She seemed frightened, but also curious, her gaze fixed on him, as if trying to understand who he was. The creature Elias realized she was a princess, when he saw the small, intricate emblem on her shoulder slowly rose. I am Lyra," she said, her words hesitant. "You saved me." Elias nodded. "Name's Elias. I guess humans are braver than you expected." Lyra tilted her head. "Brave or foolish?" she asked softly. Her tone carried no accusation, only curiosity. Elias shrugged, maybe a bit of both. As he guided her back to their shuttle, he noticed the city around them. The air shimmered with energy, and faint light pulses traveled along the spires, like invisible rivers. "Your people. This place. It's incredible," Elias said. Lyra's eyes brightened slightly. "It is our home, though not everyone sees it." "Humans are different from us, aren't you?" she asked. "Different in what way?" Elias replied. "We take risks for each other. Even if it's dangerous, we help. It's just how we are." Lyra studied him silently, perhaps trying to understand such a concept. Back on the shuttle, Elias's crew monitored readings that were far beyond their understanding. "Captain, these energy signatures, and they're unlike anything in the database," Mara reported. Elias nodded, still thinking about Lyra. "I don't care about the readings right now," he said quietly. She needed help. That's what mattered. Lyra's gaze followed him, her eyes full of wonder, and something deeper he couldn't name. "Humans are strange creatures," she murmured almost to herself. Elias looked at her. "Yeah, but I think we're capable of good things too. Things worth remembering." She smiled faintly, a gesture both timid and genuine. Suddenly, the ground trembled beneath them. "Warning! Seismic activity detected," Mara shouted. The canyon walls rumbled, dust and small rocks falling around them. Elias tightened his grip on the controls. "Hang on, we're not leaving anyone behind." The shuttle shook violently, but Elias's calm determination guided them safely back into the air. When they reached a safer distance, Lyra finally spoke. "You risked yourself for me? Why?" Elias looked out the viewport, the alien city below, fading into the distance. "Because no one should have to face danger alone. I couldn't just stand there and watch. That's how humans are." Lyra seemed to ponder this, her silver eyes reflecting the twin suns of her world. "Perhaps humans are more valuable than I thought," she said softly. Elias's communication system beeped. "Captain, sensors show multiple ships approaching," Mara warned. Elias's heart sank. They were not alone. The ships were sleek, black, and silent, clearly not friendly. "We have company," he said. "Prepare for possible contact." Lyra tensed, fear flashing across her face for the first time. They will not forgive my rescue," she said. Elias frowned. "Who are they?" Lyra hesitated. "They serve the Queen, my mother. She controls much of this world, and she does not forgive disobedience. By saving me, you may have drawn her attention." Elias swallowed hard. He had anticipated danger, but not this level of political consequence. "We'll face it together," he said firmly. Lyra's eyes widened. "Together," she repeated. Elias nodded. "I couldn't leave you behind, and I won't. Humans stand by each other no matter the cost." The approaching ship slowed as they noticed the shuttle. Elias realized the Queen's forces were not attacking immediately. They were observing, cautious, but deliberate. "She's testing us," Elias muttered, "or waiting to see what we do next." Lyra looked at him with a mixture of awe and worry. "You risked your life, and now my mother will come." Lyra shrugged, a small smile forming. "Sometimes courage isn't about winning. Sometimes it's just about standing up and doing what's right." The shuttle entered orbit, leaving the alien city behind. Elias felt a strange mixture of relief and dread. The princess was safe for now, but the future was uncertain. The queen's interest meant that nothing would remain simple or quiet. And yet, despite the looming danger, Elias felt something he rarely allowed himself to feel. Hope. Humans had a way of surprising the universe. And perhaps the universe was about to be surprised by them. Lyra turned to him, her silver eyes searching. "You humans may be the bravest of all," she said quietly. Elias chuckled softly. "Or the most stubborn," he replied. "Either way, I'll do what I must." As the stars stretched endlessly before them, Elias knew one thing with certainty. Saving the alien princess was only the beginning. The galaxy had noticed humans. Now it had questions. Questions only a brave heart could answer. And Captain Elias Drake was ready to answer them. The twin suns rose over the crystalline towers, casting long shadows across the alien city. As Captain Elias Drake stood at the balcony of the palace, looking out over a world that had once seemed so distant and strange. Now, after trials, ambushes, and displays of courage, he understood the depth of the Queen's realm and the fragility of its politics. Yet despite all challenges, he felt a sense of purpose that was unmistakably human. The desire to act rightly, protect others, and inspire, changed the Queen summoned Elias for a formal audience. He entered the grand chamber, Lyra at his side, and bowed respectfully. The Queen's eyes swept over him, evaluating not just his actions but his character. "Captain Elias Drake," she said, "your presence here has tested not only your strength, but your morality, intelligence, and courage. Few could have survived what you endured. Fewer still could inspire trust and loyalty in others." Elias straightened. "Your Majesty, I acted as any human would. We face danger to protect life, to help those in need, and to stand by what is right. That is our way." Lyra's hand brushed against his, a silent acknowledgement of his dedication. "You have proven that courage and morality are not limited by species," she added softly. The Queen studied them both, her gaze lingering on Lyra. "My daughter, you have chosen to trust this human, despite the customs of our world. Your judgment is sound." She turned back to Elias. "Humans possess qualities that my people have long neglected. Initiative, compassion, adaptability, courage that inspires others. You have shown these traits in abundance. For that, you have earned more than respect. You have earned the possibility of alliance." Elias felt a surge of pride tempered with humility. "An alliance between humans and your people? That would be an honor." The Queen nodded. "Yes, but understand this. Respect must be earned continuously. The bond between our worlds is delicate. Humans must continue to demonstrate their values through actions, not words alone." Elias's expression was resolute. "We will. Humanity thrives not on idle promises, but on deeds. You will see that our courage, loyalty, and adaptability extend beyond mere survival. They are our principles." The Queen gestured to the assembled court. "Let it be known that humans represented by Captain Elias Drake are worthy of observation, guidance, and partnership. Let our worlds learn from each other, and may this alliance strengthen both civilizations." The chamber erupted in murmurs, some of approval, some of cautious uncertainty. Elias felt the eyes of both humans and aliens on him, and he realized that he was no longer just a visitor. He was a symbol of unity, courage, and the potential of human spirit. In the following weeks, Elias worked closely with Lyra and the Queen's advisors to establish collaborative programs. Human techniques for exploration, problem-solving, and teamwork were shared with the alien society. In return, humans learned from the alien knowledge of energy manipulation, environmental adaptation, and complex diplomacy. The exchange was slow but promising, bridging gaps that had once seemed insurmountable. Lyra often observed him quietly. "Captain Elias," she said one evening, "you have done more than save me. You have changed my world. You have shown us that courage and morality are not bound by species. Humans, they inspire." Elias smiled, tired but content. "We all have the chance to inspire, Princess. Courage isn't just a gift, it's a choice, and I choose it every time it matters." The Queen herself approached him privately. "You have proven humans worth beyond my expectations. Your courage, intelligence, and morality are undeniable. Perhaps humans are not merely visitors in this galaxy. Perhaps they are partners in shaping its future." Elias bowed slightly. "It is an honor, Your Majesty. I will continue to prove that humans are worthy of trust and respect." As months passed, the alliance strengthened. Humans and aliens began joint missions, shared knowledge, and mutual protection initiatives. The once rigid society of the Queen began to see the value of unpredictability, adaptability, and moral courage, the very traits that defined humanity. Elias became a symbol not just of bravery, but of the unyielding human spirit that could inspire even the most ancient civilizations. One quiet evening, Elias and Lyra stood on a balcony, watching the twin moons rise. "Captain Elias," she said softly, "human, they are remarkable. You risked yourself not for power, not for recognition, but for what was right. That is rare in any world." Elias smiled, looking at the horizon. "That's what humans do. We face danger, protect others, and act for the greater good. It's not heroic, it's necessary." Lyra nodded. "Then perhaps humans are meant to be remembered, Captain, not just for their strength, but for their hearts." Elias glanced at her, understanding the depth of her words. "And as long as we live, we will continue to act with courage and integrity. That is our legacy, and it can inspire even the stars themselves." And so, Captain Elias Drake's journey reached a milestone. The human spirit had proven itself in a distant alien world. Courage, intelligence, and morality had bridged species, inspired change, and forged an alliance that promised a future of shared knowledge and mutual respect. The galaxy had noticed humans now, and for the first time, it understood that their greatest power was not technology, nor weapons, nor numbers, but their heart. And Captain Elias Drake, human among aliens, had shown the universe exactly what that heart could do. Captain Elias Drake had known that saving Princess Lyra would not go unnoticed, but nothing prepared him for the weight of the Queen's attention. While the shuttle rested in a secluded valley, sensors picked up signals from alien ships descending in formation. Elias glanced at the readings and tightened his jaw. "That's her," he said quietly. "The Queen herself is coming, and she isn't coming for tea." Lyra's silver eyes widened. "My mother, she will test you. Humans, she does not understand your courage. It is frightening to her." Elias nodded. "I've faced danger before, Lyra. This is just another kind of challenge, one I'm ready for." Mara leaned forward. "Captain, this isn't just about survival anymore. The Queen's forces are highly trained. One wrong move." Elias held up a hand. "I know, but humans don't back down because something is dangerous. We face it head on." The shuttle descended into the alien city under escort. Soldiers in sleek black armor flanked them, and the streets of the crystalline city shimmered with alien light. Elias could feel the eyes of thousands watching him, curious and cautious. The Queen's palace loomed above, a tower of glass-like material that sparkled under the twin suns. It was beautiful, but intimidating, a reminder of the power he now faced. Inside the palace, the air was thick with a soft energy. It vibrated gently, as if the walls themselves were alive. The Queen appeared in a chamber lit by floating orbs of light. She was regal, her presence commanding. Every movement was precise, her silver hair flowing like liquid, her eyes as sharp and bright as her daughter's. "Captain Elias Drake," she said, her voice calm, but carrying authority that could silence a room. "You have interfered in the affairs of my kingdom. You saved my daughter without permission. Tell me why." Elias straightened. "Because it was the right thing to do," he said simply. "No one should face danger alone, no matter who they are." The Queen regarded him silently, her piercing eyes scanning his face, as if she were searching for weakness or deceit. "Your answer is unusual. My people obey order. Disobedience is punished, and yet you acted against my command. Why should I not punish you?" Lyra stepped forward, her voice soft but firm. "Mother, he saved my life. He did what no one else could. Punishing him would not honor courage or strength. It would honor fear." The Queen's eyes flicked to her daughter, a mixture of anger and contemplation. Elias felt the tension in the room, the silent struggle between tradition and admiration. Finally, the Queen spoke. "Very well. You will not be executed. Instead, you will face trials, tests of courage, intelligence, and morality. Many have failed. Many have been unprepared for the nature of my challenges." Elias nodded. "I accept. Humans are judged by our actions, not by our fears. I'll face whatever you set before me." The first trial was one of intelligence. Elias was led into a vast chamber, filled with floating holograms, complex puzzles, and shifting pathways. The Queen's voice echoed softly. To succeed, you must understand patterns beyond your world. You must see connections that others miss. Elias examined the patterns carefully. His human brain worked differently from the aliens. He noticed subtleties in the movement of light and shadow, correlations in sequences that the aliens overlooked. Slowly, methodically, he solved the puzzles. Each solution unlocked a new path, and after hours of concentration, he reached the center chamber. A soft light glowed, signaling his success. Next came the trial of courage. The chamber opened to a deep abyss, the floor disappearing into darkness. Strange creatures unlike anything human eyes had seen moved in the shadows. Giant translucent forms that floated and shifted as if aware of every step. Do not falter, the Queen's voice intoned. Your fear will betray you. Elias swallowed hard. His heart raced, but he forced himself to step forward. Every careful movement required focus and control. He remembered the reason he had come. Saving Lyra, protecting life, standing by what was right. Step by step, he moved across the abyss, guiding himself with both skill and determination. The creatures observed, but did not attack, as if testing his spirit rather than his strength. When he reached solid ground, a wave of relief washed over him. He had passed the trial, not through violence, but through perseverance and calm courage. The third trial tested morality. Elias was presented with scenarios where choices had to be made, decisions that affected the lives of others. In one simulation, an entire alien village was threatened by a collapsing energy field. He could save some or risk everything to save all. In another, he faced a choice between saving valuable knowledge or rescuing lives. Each choice weighed heavily, and he realized that humans valued life above all else. He made decisions that reflected that philosophy, showing empathy and wisdom beyond mere strategy. Each correct choice illuminated a path forward, confirming the Queen's observation. Humans act from conscience as much as strength. Throughout the trials, Lyra watched in awe. She had never seen anyone, human or alien, move with such determination, intelligence, and moral clarity. He is extraordinary, she whispered to herself. His courage, his heart, they are unlike anything I have ever seen. Even the Queen, observing silently, could not hide her intrigue. Humans were unpredictable, and Elias demonstrated qualities that her people had long neglected: initiative, compassion, and adaptability. When the trials concluded, Elias stood before the Queen once more. He was weary but unbroken. The Queen studied him, her expression unreadable. You have succeeded where many have failed, she said finally. Your actions show a combination of bravery, intelligence, and morality. That is remarkable. Elias bowed slightly. Thank you, Your Majesty. I did what any human would do to protect another. That is all. The Queen's gaze softened slightly, though her authority remained. Perhaps humans have lessons to teach us, she said quietly. Your spirit, your unpredictability. It is both frightening and valuable. You have earned a place of observation, though not yet trust. Elias nodded. I will do whatever is required to prove human worth. Lyra stepped forward, taking his hand gently. Mother, he has proven more than words can express. He saved me. He has honored life itself. The Queen paused, considering her daughter's words. Very well, she said at last. You will remain on my world under supervision. Your actions will be observed. If you continue to demonstrate these qualities, humans may earn our respect, and perhaps our alliance. Elias's heart lifted. This was no simple victory, but it was a beginning. Humans had a chance to show that courage, morality, and perseverance could cross species and change worlds. After the audience, Elias returned to the shuttle with Lyra and his crew. The trials had tested him in ways he could never have anticipated. Yet he felt a deep sense of accomplishment. Mara clapped him on the shoulder. Captain, I don't know how you do it, but humans really are something else. Elias smiled tiredly. It's not about being something else. It's about being willing to act when it matters most. That's what humans do. Lyra walked beside him, her silver eyes thoughtful. Your people, they have a spirit that my mother does not fully understand. You risk yourself not for power, not for glory, but for others that is extraordinary. Elias shook his head. We don't see it as extraordinary. We see it as necessary. She smiled faintly. Perhaps humans are meant to inspire. Perhaps you teach what others cannot. That night, the city shimmered under the twin moons. Elias sat quietly on the shuttle's deck, gazing at the alien architecture. The trials had been difficult, the challenges intense, but he had passed. More importantly, he had shown that humans could face danger with courage, think with clarity, and act with morality. He had proven that the human spirit was resilient and capable of inspiring even the most rigid of societies. Lyra joined him, her presence calm and reassuring. "Captain Elias," she said softly, "my people, they will watch you. My mother, she will test you further. But for now, you have proven the value of your kind." Elias looked at her, seeing the trust and admiration in her eyes. "I will continue to do so. For you, for my crew, for humans everywhere. Courage is not just action. It is a choice, and I choose it every time it matters." As the twin moons reflected on the crystalline towers, Elias felt a renewed sense of purpose. Humans had always been explorers, warriors, and thinkers. But now, on this alien world, they were something more. A beacon of hope, courage, and morality in a universe that needed it more than ever. And for the first time, he understood that his actions would not only shape his own destiny, they could shape the future of an entire civilization. Captain Elias Drake sat in the shuttle cockpit, his hands resting lightly on the controls, but his mind was far from the instruments. Below, the alien world stretched out like a living painting, towering crystal spires, rivers of glowing liquid, and forests of trees that shimmered like silver. Yet the beauty of the planet could not mask the weight pressing on him. Saving Princess Lyra had been the right thing to do, but he knew that every action had consequences. And this one was bound to be immense. Lyra sat across from him, her hands folded delicately on her lap. Her silver eyes watched him, full of quiet curiosity. She seemed both grateful and uneasy. "Captain Elias," she began softly, "you risked much to save me. My mother, she will come for you." Elias nodded, looking out the window at the alien landscape. "I expected as much," he said calmly, "but I couldn't leave you behind. No one deserves to face death alone." Lyra's expression softened, but concern lingered in her gaze. "Humans, you are different from anyone I have met. You value life and courage. It is unusual for my people." Elias gave a small shrug. "Maybe, but that's what makes humans strong. We don't just survive, we help, even when it's dangerous." The shuttle shook lightly as they entered a narrow canyon passage, and Mara Chen's voice came through the intercom. "Captain, sensors show more activity ahead. It looks like patrolling ships, possibly the Queen Scouts. They're tracking us, but not yet engaging." Elias tensed. He had guessed the Queen's response would be swift, but seeing evidence of it was unnerving. "We need to move carefully," he said. "No mistakes." Lyra leaned forward, her eyes scanning the instruments. They do not forgive. My mother rules with absolute authority. Anyone who acts against her will face his punishment." Elias nodded grimly. "I understand. But sometimes doing what is right means taking risks, even against powerful rulers." Lyra's gaze softened, admiration flickering in her silver eyes. "You are brave, perhaps braver than anyone I have known." As they continued their descent, Elias explained the shuttle's plan. "We'll navigate through the upper valleys. It's narrow, but the scanners show fewer patrols there. Mara, keep communications open and monitor all ships in the area. Lyra, stay close." Lyra nodded, trusting him without question, a faith that surprised Elias. It was rare for someone to trust so completely, especially in a world so different from his own. The shuttle glided through the canyon, its hull brushing close to jagged cliffs. Strange flora glowed along the walls, illuminating their path. "Your planet, it feels alive," Elias said quietly. Lyra smiled faintly. "It is alive. Every part of it is connected. The trees, the rivers, even the cities. Everything shares energy." Elias's eyes widened. "Energy like power, or like life force?" Lyra hesitated, both in a way humans might not fully understand. For hours, they maneuvered carefully, avoiding detection and scanning for potential threats. Despite the tension, Elias found himself thinking about Lyra's words. Humans had always been explorers, willing to face the unknown. But this world, its people, its dangers, was unlike anything he had ever imagined. And yet the principles remained the same: courage, loyalty, and the willingness to risk oneself for another. Suddenly, alarms blared. Mara's voice was sharp. "Captain, multiple ships approaching from above. They're faster than anything in our fleet." Elias's heart raced. He adjusted the controls, diving into a narrow fissure between the cliffs. The pursuing ships followed, sleek and black, moving with deadly precision. "They're testing us," he muttered. "Not attacking yet, but they're watching." Lyra's hands gripped her seat. They are my mother's agents. She wishes to see if you deserve your actions." Elias glanced at her. "Then we'll give them a reason to respect humans." He activated evasive maneuvers, weaving through the canyon like a dancer, using every ounce of skill and instinct he had. The alien ships followed, but Elias's understanding of human ingenuity gave him an edge. As the shuttle emerged into a wide valley, the pursuit faltered. Elias had outmaneuvered the aliens, at least temporarily. Lyra exhaled, her tension easing slightly. "You a remarkable human," she said quietly. Elias smiled faintly. "Thanks, but luck and quick thinking play a role too." Lyra tilted her head, clearly studying him. "Your people are unpredictable. Perhaps that is why you survive." They landed in a secluded area far from the city. Elias and his crew began assessing the shuttle, checking for damage, and reviewing sensor data. Lyra wandered near the edge of the clearing, observing the landscape with a mix of fascination and caution. "Your people, you risk yourselves for others. You face danger willingly." "It is admirable," she said. Elias approached her. "Sometimes it's not about bravery," he said. "Sometimes it's about doing what's right, even if it scares you. That's what humans value." Lyra's eyes reflected the twin suns of her world. "Then humans are different from us, perhaps more capable than we believed." Elias chuckled softly. "Maybe. Or maybe we're just stubborn." Night fell quickly on the alien planet, the twin moons casting a soft silver glow over the valley. Elias and his crew set up a temporary camp while keeping the shuttle's engines ready for a quick escape. Around the small fire, Lyra spoke of her world, its history, her people's customs, and the Queen's strict rule. "My mother, she believes order is more important than life," she explained. "Disobedience, even with good intentions, is forbidden." Elias nodded thoughtfully. "That kind of order can work for a while, but it can also blind people to what is right." Mara, sitting nearby, asked cautiously, "Do you think the Queen will punish him, Lyra?" Lyra hesitated. "Perhaps, or perhaps she will learn humans. They are unusual. My mother does not easily understand them." Elias looked at her. "Then, I guess we'll just have to show her what humans are capable of." The quiet night was broken by a soft vibration in the valley. Sensors picked up movement. Small creatures unlike anything human eyes had seen before. They shimmered in the moonlight, moving in a coordinated pattern. Elias tensed. "Life here is dangerous in ways we didn't expect," he said. Lyra nodded. "Yes, my world tests all who enter it. Survival is not guaranteed." As the night wore on, Elias and Lyra spoke quietly, sharing stories of their worlds. He told her of human struggles, victories, and the strange, unyielding courage that defined his species. She listened, fascinated. "Your people, they value life in ways mine do not. You fight not for power, but for others. That is rare." Elias smiled. "Maybe that's why humans have survived so long. We take care of each other, even when it's hard, even when it's dangerous." The next morning, Elias awoke to the hum of the shuttle. Scanners showed multiple ships returning to orbit, more persistent this time. The Queen's attention was clear, and her reach extended far. Elias knew the coming days would not be easy. "We've been noticed," he said, gathering his crew, "and we have a choice: run or face it." Lyra approached him, determination in her silver eyes. "I will face it with you," she said. Elias's heart swelled with respect. "Then we face it together. Humans do not abandon those in need." She nodded, a silent agreement passing between them. Aya spent the following hours preparing for the inevitable. Every tool, every system on the shuttle was checked, every potential danger analyzed. Mara worked alongside him, her usual humor replaced by focused determination. "Captain, humans may be stubborn," she said, "but I have to admit, we make a good team." Elias chuckled. That's the point. And we're not done yet. By the time the twin suns rose again, Elias and Lyra were ready. The Queen's forces had been patient, but patience was ending. The human captain understood one truth clearly. Courage was not the absence of fear, but the decision to act despite it, and he was ready to act, no matter what the galaxy threw at him. Lyra looked at him once more. You risked yourself for me. Perhaps humans are meant for greatness. Elias smiled, feeling the weight of responsibility and pride. We all have our moments, he said simply. This is ours. And as the horizon glowed with the promise of a new day, Elias Drake knew that the true challenge was just beginning, and that humans had a way of changing worlds simply by standing up for what was right. The alien city glimmered under the twin suns. But for Captain Elias Drake, beauty no longer distracted from danger. Even after passing the Queen's trials, a new threat emerged, one that was subtler and far more dangerous than any physical obstacle. Political rivals in the alien court had begun to whisper. They feared Elias's influence over Princess Lyra, worried that a human's courage and morality could upset the balance of power. Elias and his crew were summoned to a council chamber that evening. The room was vast, its walls lined with statues of the Queen's ancestors, glowing faintly with a mysterious energy. Alien nobles watched silently, their expressions neutral but calculating. Lyra stayed close to Elias, her hand brushing lightly against his arm for reassurance. Captain, she whispered, some here do not wish to see you succeed. They plot in shadows. Elias nodded. Then we proceed carefully. Humans do not give up easily, and we do not let fear control our actions. The council began with formal introductions, but the tension was palpable. Whispers floated through the chamber like ghostly currents. One noble, cloaked in shimmering blue, spoke first. Your Majesty, this human, he is clever, yes, but he is unpredictable. Allowing him freedom within our city may endanger the balance of our society. Others nodded in agreement, their eyes fixed on Elias. Perhaps he should be confined. A taller figure suggested, or return to his people immediately. The Queen's gaze swept across the room. Enough, she said, her voice echoing with authority. This human has proven his worth in the trials, yet his presence is not permanent. He will continue to demonstrate courage, intelligence, and morality. Only then will he earn our full trust. Elias felt the weight of her words. Even the Queen respected him, but suspicion ran deep. One mistake could ignite hostility from the court. Later that evening, a covert message reached Elias's quarters. Mara, reading it aloud, frowned. Captain, someone is planning an attack, not on us directly, but on Princess Lyra. They aim to kidnap her to force your removal. Elias's jaw tightened. They underestimate human creativity, he muttered. We'll need to be proactive. He spent the night devising a plan. Using the shuttle sensors and his understanding of human strategy, he identified weak points in the palace's defenses. Unlike the aliens, humans were unpredictable. They relied not only on strength, but on ingenuity, adaptability, and quick thinking. Elias knew that to protect Lyra, he would need every ounce of human cunning. The next day, as the Queen held a ceremonial audience, Elias subtly monitored the palace. Shadows shifted unnaturally, and Mara's alerts confirmed his suspicion. Agents were moving through hidden corridors, preparing an ambush. Elias shared his findings with Lyra. We need to act carefully, he whispered. The human's approach isn't always obvious. We use intelligence and timing, not just force. Lyra nodded. Then we act together, she said. I will help. Her involvement was crucial. Her intimate knowledge of the palace allowed Elias to anticipate moves the conspirators could not expect. The bond between human and alien grew stronger with each step, each shared plan, and each moment of trust. That night, the ambush began. Shadowy figures attempted to infiltrate Lyra's quarters, moving with speed and precision. Elias had already anticipated their path. Using light and sound diversions, he led the intruders into controlled areas, neutralizing their advantage. The palace guards, initially hesitant, followed his commands with precision. His courage and strategy inspired them, even though he was human and unfamiliar to their culture. In the chaos, Lyra demonstrated remarkable trust. She guided Elias through secret passages, avoided traps, and provided insight into palace security systems. Together, human ingenuity and alien knowledge created a synergy that no single force could overcome. The conspirators were trapped, disarmed, and apprehended before they could reach the princess. The next morning, the queen summoned Elias and Lyra once more. "Captain," she said, her eyes sharp yet tinged with approval, "you have prevented a threat not even my most loyal advisors foresaw. Humans are unpredictable indeed. Perhaps there is value in your methods." Elias bowed slightly. "Thank you, Your Majesty. Humans act with courage and logic even in unfamiliar worlds. We do what is right, and we adapt when needed." The queen's expression softened. "Your actions have saved my daughter and exposed betrayal. Yet you must understand that power in this world is fragile. Not all will respect human bravery. Some will fear it. You must remain vigilant." Elias nodded. "I understand, and I will not waver in protecting those who cannot protect themselves." In the following days, Elias trained alongside the palace guards, sharing human tactics and approaches. He taught them to anticipate, improvise, and think beyond rigid rules. Slowly, the soldiers began to understand human reasoning, creativity under pressure, adaptability in chaos, and loyalty that transcended fear. Lyra watched proudly, knowing that Elias's influence was reshaping her world in subtle but powerful ways. Despite these successes, danger was never far. Alien nobles continued plotting, whispering of human interference, and the queen observed silently, weighing the benefits of human presence against the risks. Elias knew that survival was no longer just about courage. It required diplomacy, insight, and unwavering resolve. One evening, Lyra approached him, her expression solemn. "Captain Elias, you risk so much for others. My people, they do not always see this. Do you ever fear that one day your courage may not be enough?" Elias placed a reassuring hand on her shoulder. "Fear is part of life, princess, but courage is deciding to act despite fear. Humans live by that, and as long as we do, we have a chance to change the outcome." Lyra's eyes softened, reflecting admiration and trust. The threat within the palace had been neutralized, but the political tension remained. Elias understood that his journey on this world was far from over. Each day brought new challenges, testing not only strength and skill, but human values, bravery, morality, and resilience. And in each test, he proved that humans were more than mere outsiders. They were a force capable of inspiring even the most rigid societies. By the end of Part 4, Elias had established a subtle but undeniable presence in the alien court. He was no longer simply a guest, he had become a symbol of human courage and ingenuity. Lyra's trust and admiration grew, and even the queen began to reconsider her perspective on humans. Yet he knew that the most important challenge still lay ahead, forging a lasting alliance between two very different worlds, while navigating the ever-present threat of those who would seek to undermine it.